Hey, what's up guys? My name is the Cherno and welcome to episode 22 of Network Chat Programming. So last time, of course, we went ahead and created this client window so that we differentiate client from client window, kind of the same way that we differentiate server main from server. Okay, just so that we can see what's happening a bit more clear. And if we want to handle client stuff, we know that it's going to be over here. And you can see it's nice and simple, right? 78 lines of code. That is all that our client does as far as the network side of things is concerned. And of course, you can see that we don't need to deal with all of this GUI code in the way that kind of makes things really messy. So that, of course, was a good thing. And today we're just going to basically talk about how to verify if the client does indeed establish a successful connection to the server or not. Okay, so just to walk you through kind of the flowchart of what's happening, we start a server here. When we start a client and when we try to connect to it, if you go ahead into client window, you'll see that as soon as we create a client, and as soon as, because of course login, the login.java class is what actually creates a new instance of client, we actually try to establish a connection here. And when that does happen, so if we just can command click or control click if you're on Windows on that method, you can see what actually goes down here. So we try and open a new datagram socket with, of course, those parameters. Well, what happens here is, let's see, let's quickly just scroll up. All right, so we create a new datagram socket here. We assign it to any kind of thing, but the idea of this is that because we're not using TCP, we don't actually connect to a thing. When we create a new socket, we're not actually plugging it in anywhere, okay? That's not how UDP works, that's how TCP works. When you create a new TCP socket, what actually happens is you literally have to plug it in somewhere and establish that one way, well, not necessarily one way, but establish that physical connection. Whereas in UDP, when you create a new socket, you're just binding a port on your system being like, all right, this port is the port that's going to be used for any further communication that we might want to do here. And of course, the only thing that actually establishes any kind of connection to the server ever is, of course, the send little method here, okay? Because that creates a new packet with a destination being the IP and port, and then it sends it, okay? So our only way of seeing whether the server actually whether the server actually receives our message or whether we are actually indeed connected to the server, the only way that we will ever see that is if we actually write a method for it. Because there's nothing in the UDP protocol that actually specifies that any kind of confirmation has to be made, which is one of its charms, but also, of course, makes it kind of impractical, not only impractical, kind of dumb for a chat application. But of course, the reason we're doing this is because we need to, because this is what we're going to be using in the game programming series. So, to handle this, what we're actually going to do is, of course, what happens here, this is the other thing, right? So we send attempting a connection to, okay? And then we send this string connection plus name, okay? So client send connection.get bytes. We've sent that. Now this is important, okay? What we want to do is receive our unique identifier that gets assigned to us. So I'm going to go ahead and say private int ID, okay? And we'll set that equal to -1 right now, meaning that it has not been specified. And then what we'll do over here is we will, I guess we'll just hop over into this receive little method here in client and socket receive packet. So string message is this. Now, if message dot starts with, we can give it a prefix of, I think, what was convention that we used in the server. I'm just going to open up not that one. I'm just going to open up the server class that we created. So we had a little, let's see. Did we deal with that? Or am I imagining things? Yeah, we did. Okay, so we had / character /. So / any character, like M, for example. So C stands for connection here. So we'll go ahead and use the same one. Why not? So if it starts with that, then clearly this message is a connection-oriented message and it will contain our little thing. So similarly how we did over here in client window, in server main, not server main, in server, where we went ahead and we, let's see here. So we did that good. How we did the little substring thing. We're going to do the same thing here, which is basically take the string, take this message. So we'll go ahead and make string, actually, okay, so it's an integer. So we'll go ahead and make an integer called ID. We'll set that equal to message dot substring, and the begin index will be 0, the end index will be 3. Nope, other way around. So 3, and then message dot length. Do we have to -1 from that? I don't remember. No, it doesn't look like it. Okay, cool. So that will be this. Of course, we need to integer dot parse int. And then if we get an exception thrown from this, it means that we've not divided the string correctly. So we've got our ID now. In fact, we can just set this dot ID equal to that, and then this is kind of our confirmation. So because of that, oh, that's in the other one. See, that's interesting. Okay, so this is in the other one. So what we're probably going to do then in that case is, yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? So I probably just put it into the wrong thing. So in client window, instead of having ID here, we'll rather just have ID in here, and then we can always get it using a get method, a getter. So we'll keep ID here, and then we'll go ahead and set that as it should be. Now we also probably print something to the console here, which I think happens there. So this is the other thing we need to deal with. I guess, well, not really deal with, because it's not a problem at all. It's just kind of like working out how we want to do things. So I'll just grab some water because it's 40 degrees Celsius here right now. Well, not in my room, but outside. So the thing that we have to figure out is, because we've got interface and kind of backend, we don't have, like, we can't, the backend shouldn't be able to access the interface. The interface should be able to access the backhand, if that makes sense. The backhand, what are we talking tennis here? The back end, okay? So the networking portion should have nothing to do with the interface, but the interface should have a networking portion, if that makes sense. Now, because of that, if we want to do something like print something, we might have a bit of a problem. So rather than doing something as silly as this, is what we've done here, what we're going to do is, instead of basically deciphering this little message here, we're basically just going to do things a bit differently. Rather than just kind of have this, we have a string receive and we do return the message here. Rather than calling all this and actually, as you can see, doing all of it here, which is what we did, let's not put this here at all. Let's go back into client window, and we have this, we don't actually. So let's make a, in client here, let's make a, hang on though, if we don't though, we have to. Surely I made that. Apparently not. So hang on a minute, something doesn't make sense here. Open connection, receive, send. No, okay, doesn't matter. So we'll make a public void listen, okay? And listen will be basically run as a little kind of recurring thing in a while loop in a minute here. But what listen will do is it will actually go ahead and go client.receive on its own thread, of course. Otherwise we'll be here forever. So we'll make a new thread here, and we'll go client.receive. Oh, well, no, not really. So listen will permanently, I guess, the only job that listen will ever do is just listen for any kind of thing. So we'll call this receive or listen equals new thread, and then we'll go ahead, scroll up here, and go ahead and go private thread listen, just so we can reference this thread properly if we need to in the future. That's why I'm creating it as its own object. So while true, all right, and we can change this to while running later. I don't think there's a running. Oh, there's not. Okay, yeah, okay. It doesn't matter. Well, I don't know. I thought I did this stuff. Maybe I'm imagining things because of this heat. So while running, oops. What's it complaining about now? Oh. Hang on a minute. Oh. Yeah, okay. No, we're not going to do it this way. Oh. Well, we could. But do we want to? Yeah, okay, we'll do it this way. So we'll have to make one of these things up. All right. There we go. So while running, we'll go ahead and receive stuff. And this will be, of course, string message equals client.receive. And this is the message. So now we can paste in our if message starts with blah, blah, blah. We can set the ID to something. We can do whatever we like, which is the awesome thing. So we'll go ahead and say we have this client. So client dot set ID, okay, equal to that. And we'll make that method here in a minute. So I'll just go ahead and hover the mouse here and go create method in type client. So set ID. What that will do is set this dot ID equal to ID. I'll change that to capital just so it looks better. All right, and then we should be good. Okay, and then what we'll do as well is we'll print out. We could simply, of course, print out, this is your ID, welcome. But that might be a bit, for the user, that might be like, what's going on? It's printing IDs and stuff for me. So what we might do instead is do something like successfully connected to server. Okay, and then just for good measure, just for the sake of what I'll do here quickly though is also make a public void get ID, which will return ID. Just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm actually going to print out the ID just so you guys can see that it works, but I'll probably be removing that. What's up with this? Public, okay, change this to public int get ID, not public void, since it is indeed returning something, which is an integer. So connected to server, ID, and then plus client dot get ID. Okay, simple as that. Now we need to make a run method here. So we'll make one actually called run. And by run, yeah. So we'll make a okay, and we'll implement runnable here. So implements runnable. I'm gonna pretend I know English here. And of course, to make that all happy and warm inside, we need to actually make a run method. So while running, essentially what we want to do here, and this is where we're adding kind of the dynamic almost portion to our server. We're saying that we're actively going to listen for things. So we need to listen. Oh, sorry, this actually doesn't have to be while running. That would be disastrous if we made it that. We'll simply listen, okay? And then that of course has its own thread, and that'll be able to do its own stuff. So we don't need to worry about that. But essentially what should happen here is, well, we need to do two things, right? When we do create the window, we've sent this, whatever, we want to go ahead and say run, which is our run thing, dot start. But before we do that, we need to run equals new thread. This, we'll call it the running thread. All right. And then this one over here, which is our, let's see, our listen thread, we'll actually call it the listen thread. Okay. And the reason we're actually naming these is because when debugging comes into play, if something's wrong, we can easily debug what thread it's wrong with, and we can say, okay, that's the listen thread. That's actually listening for any data. Okay, so what should happen now is we should be sending a little something called an attempting connection method. We do send, of course, our name here. So in server, let's just verify that when server receives that name thing, it actually knows what to do with it. So if string starts with C here, right, because this is processing everything here. If string starts with C, it assigns a unique identifier, but it doesn't actually send anything back to the client. It adds the client, it prints it, doesn't send anything back. So what we need to do is send back to that client. So I think we can just run the send method here. Yes, we can. We can send the data here, I guess, being something along the lines of, well, actually, we know exactly what we need to send. Let's make a string of it first. So string, I guess, string ID equals, so we've got this connection little prefix here, and then we've got the ID that we've assigned to the client, which is just this. We could use the get ID method to be, well, actually, no, that doesn't happen like that. We've got the ID method here. And, oh, I just realized I've named it the same thing. We'll just capitalize it. ID, okay? And then we'll go ahead and say ID dot get bytes, okay? And then the address, of course, will be the client's address, which over here I think is just packet dot get address, and the ID, or well, not the ID, the port is packet dot get port, okay? And that will actually relay it back to the client. Simple as that, and that's it, right? That's how we verify connection. So what should happen here before I run this, and I haven't tested this yet, of course, you guys haven't seen me do that. Oh, I just screwed something up, didn't I? Yeah, I did. So listen.start, because I saw the little yellow underline here, and I was like, whoops, never actually started that. Okay, so we've started this method. So what should happen here is we should we should attempt a connection. We should send the server a packet being like, yo, what's up? My name is Jan. I'm connecting to yo server, bitch. And then we should get a response like, sweet man, welcome to my crib. Here's your identifier. Yeah. So that's what should happen. I've obviously simplified it for you guys. Now, so we'll go ahead and open server. Let's just save this server main, which is our actual running little server here. No. I'm opening the wrong crap. Why is there a server main thing in the sun? Come on. Again? Okay, you know what? Screw this. It's in the left side. I'll open it. So, we'll go ahead and run that, which starts a new server here. I'll just move this up so you guys can see properly. It starts a new server on 8192. As you guys can see, we also going to go ahead and to log in and open that. And we will type yarn here, localhost 8192, hit login. And what we should see here is, oh, look at that. So we don't actually receive anything from the user. Okay, so this is good. So what happens here is we 127.0.0.1, we receive the connection. It seems like everything works here, but unfortunately you can see that over here in the chat thing, nothing actually prints. Okay, so what we should be saying here to the clients, what we should be saying here is the ID, but that doesn't happen. Okay, so let's go ahead and debug that now. So this is where the fun part of this tutorial begins. And because I've done this live, I've got to mess everything up. But let's go ahead into okay. So we set the ID to that, and then we get the ID. So it should be printing that regardless of what the ID is. So it's not a problem with the ID at all. Client.receive, if we go back into that, we receive, so socket.receive, we actually do receive something here, probably. And then we get the packet data and then return it. So, okay, so that should be valid, right? If we actually go into, oh, okay, this is what happens. We never set running equal to true. So make sure that you set running equal to true here. That's what I've forgotten. So let's go ahead and launch that again. In fact, you know what? We shouldn't do it that way. We should set running equal to true before we make the thread. Because if we set the thread and running is false, you know what? Yeah, there might be a bit of if we should set running equal to true first. Otherwise, it's possible there might be a bit of overlap and we might lose a packet or two. So we'll go ahead and enter server main. We'll start that beast up again. I'll just try and drag this up desperately here. Okay, cool. And we'll also go into login, launch that. Yarn localhost 8192 login. Okay, and we crashed. Wonderful. This is good. So now we actually know what's wrong, I guess. So integer pass int did not work. So clearly I've screwed something up in there. Message, okay, so what happens? Number format exception. So it's not a number essentially. Why would that have happened? Probably 0, 1, 2, and then starts with 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. That looks like a number to me. Huh. Weird. Yeah, okay. So this is the number we're trying to get. It's telling us it's wrong. So either we've screwed something up with indexes or something is just wrong. Let's go ahead and print out what that actually gives us. I might have just screwed something up. So we'll grab this baby here. We'll copy it and we'll just print it out to the normal console here. All right. And we'll launch the thing again here. So yarn localhost 8192. All right, drag this up, log in. Okay, 97, so that's perfectly a number. What's wrong with you? Huh, is there a space at the end of that? No, oh yeah, it does seem like that. That does seem like a space to me. That's kind of weird, actually. Do we send it? We can't send it with a space though. Can we? Let's try -1. And I guess we'll see what happens. So let's go ahead and add a -1 into here. Because that's quite odd. It's telling us that it's not a number, but it is. Which is quite bizarre. So we've probably got a space or something in there. Huh. We're crashing it. Huh. So we're getting a number format exception. Over here. That's so message dot substring. You know what? Okay, you know what? Screw that. Let's do it a different way. And I know this is kind of, I might work that out later and post it, but the other way that I like to, personally I don't do it with the substring thing. What I usually do is I just say message.split, and then I use a regex, which is basically just going to be that. And then I take the first value, so the second one in this case, because it starts with 0. But the second one, okay, and that should give us the right things. We'll try that out and see what happens, because it looks like a number to me, so that's just kind of a bit weird. Oh, that's crashed again. Huh. Is there seriously like a space at the end of that? Why is that crashing? So you guys get to witness some pretty sick debugging here, as you can tell. That thing. So the length should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The length of the things should be 7. That's all we know. Okay. So 7 should be the length. So let's go message.aLength. We'll just print that out. So this should be equal to 7. If it's not, we know that there's a space at the end of that. Hit login. Whoa, 1024. Oh, yes! This is perfect. This leads us onto our next tutorial perfectly. Okay, I bet you guys didn't expect that. That was all planned. This leads up into our next episode perfectly. So the length, as you can see, of the string is 1024. Why is that? Well, nobody knows, but we'll find out next episode. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.